Halo Sini Besti, kami di Aces.
Check out our interview with CreativeDisc, the #1 music website in Indonesia.
Welcome back to CreativeDisc exclusive interview with me, Luthfi. Today, I am thrilled to have the 4 pieces band, but right now we have a 3 pieces in the Zoom as our special guest. This all-girl band captivates me with their unique blend of new wave and power pop music, infused with a fresh and contemporary sound. They are here to talk about their highly anticipated third album, I've Loved You for So Long, which beautifully explores the theme of reconnection. How's reconnection version of the ace of them? Sorry, I just spoiler the guest name. So, without further ado, let's give a warm welcome to the Aces.
Hey,
hello.
Hey. So, before I start asking you a question, can you introduce one by one?
Yeah, of course. Hi guys, I'm Cristal. I'm the lead singer of the Aces.
Hey guys, I'm Alisa and I'm the drummer of the Aces. I'm Katie and I play guitar, and we're missing Kenna who plays the bass.
All right. So, right now, what activities that have you been engaged recently?
We are traveling, so we're currently in Paris. We're coming to you from France, and we were just in Berlin, and yeah, so we're just traveling around and talking about our record, and so we're excited to get a chat with everyone in Indonesia. It's amazing.
Wow, how's Paris?
It's awesome. Yeah,
it's so
warm.
Good.
Yeah,
we got a little croissant, a little latte going on.
So yeah, it's great. We got our creme brulee on arrival.
So I've got latte too in here.
There you go.
Nice. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers. Mom, cheers. Okay, so if you don't mind, could you share with our viewers what makes the Aces music so unique?
Oh, well, thank you. I think what makes our music so unique is the blend of our 4 personalities and the blend of the 4, different ways that we all see the world. And I think we all come from kind of like different backgrounds and have different music tastes and different things like that. So those things coming together kind of create something new.
Oh, about your music, what's the things that I want to ask, but later on, because I want to talk more about your your third album called I've Loved You for So Long. Could you provide me the details about the album itself?
Yeah, of course. Kenna's joining us, by the way.
We're gonna have her come in real quick. Try to keep everyone in the frame. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, maybe we scooter back.
All right.
There we go.
That was that. So sorry. Would you
mind asking that question one more time?
It's all right. Before that, introduce first.
Oh,
the new music gaming. Okay.
Okay, and just what I play. Sorry.
Yeah. Introduce. You just introduce to our viewers first.
Okay. Hi, I'm Ken, and I play the bass guitar.
Okay. So, let me repeat the question. You guys are releasing a new album called I've Loved You for So Long. So, can you talk about your newest album in detail?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, this record is one we're extremely proud of. I think it's the most kind of like self-reflective and vulnerable record we've ever made. We talk a lot about what it was like to be queer and growing up in a small religious town in Utah. We talk a lot about how growing up the way that we did has affected us as adults, and the way that we are in relationships, and any type of romantic dynamic, friendship, whatever that may be, like how things of our past have affected our future.
And how everything is kind of connected, and kind of how it was really important for us on this record to go back and kind of tell the stories of our teenage selves, because we started making music really young. We made our first album when we were still teenagers, but we were more interested in talking about like romance and things that were happening then. And so this record, making it in the pandemic with all that free time and all that the reflection that came as a byproduct of that, it kind of took us to this place where we were really able to go back and kind of, you know, unpack and explore and tell the stories of our teenage selves that we think deserve to be heard, and hopefully make, you know, other teenagers today and even people like us or anyone that's been through similar things feel connected and seen by it.
But you said that this album called so much about reconnection with your younger self. It's the album, like, you know, reconnecting with younger self. But like, how can you recall the reconnection? How can you connect with your past self? Because I think connecting with your past self is kind of tricky one, because, you know, are some bad memories, there are some good memories, and there are some bad memories that you want to forget it. But how can you reconnecting with your past self and pour it into the album?
Yeah, I think, you know, with us, we did it through music, exploring. I think, you know, the thing that lights us up, that makes us passionate, is music. So I think to connect with your younger self is to do something you really love, you know, do something that like really brings you that childlike joy, and explore yourself. I think it's really important, you know, to connect to your younger self, to the good, to the bad, to everything, to understand how you are now, because it all is connected. You know, it's all a part of who you are. And so yeah, I think it's super important, and I think we really did that on this record. We started out, you know, talking about like Always Get This Way, which is very much about like my mental health now, currently, and the way that I was having really intense panic attacks. And that led us into, ask the question, like, well, where's my anxiety coming from? Because I've always been anxious. And then we started exploring, like, almost like we didn't even like really mean to. It just became this unraveled kind of story of our youth and where we come from, and how my anxiety has been a byproduct of maybe, you know, being queer and being closeted in a really repressed religious town, and how that, you know, looking back and exploring my youth, those painful memories, but that gives me understanding to my mental health today. And if I can understand those things, then I can, you know, cultivate more peace for myself, and maybe hold more like compassion for myself, and understand why I feel the way that I feel. I think it's really important for everyone to do that.
Oh, wow. But you know, why you want to recall that in your third album? Because it's so different from your first and second album with Joy, and right now on third album, I think it's more heavier stuff rather than before. You talk so much about your mental health, and you're struggling with like two opposite views. Like, why right now you want to tell everything on the third album?
I think because, you know, we made this record during the pandemic. We made it during 2020, and I think that was a dark time for the entire world. You know, it felt like everything was kind of coming to a collapse, coming to a head, and we'd been touring relentlessly up until that point, until we were pretty much like stopped dead in our tracks in the middle of putting out our second record, and it just left us with so much time and emptiness, and all these things started coming up that normally would have been able to stay on the back shelf if we were traveling and staying busy and working. But given that time and space, you know, it forced us to kind of like really look at those things in the face and figure out what they were, and try to, like Crystal was saying, you know, like process them so that we could feel better in the present moment. And I think that, you know, it wasn't intentional. I don't think we went into this record being like, let's make like a sad record this time, or let's make like an emotionally intense record this time. You know, it wasn't calculated like that or thought about. It just was, you know. And I think as an artist, your only job is to show up as you are in the moment and be authentic, and just try to give your most vulnerable version of yourself to your record, you know, because I think that that's the stuff that people really connect to, and that's the stuff that people really value. You know, they feel seen through that kind of thing, and it helps, you know, create more community and help people feel less alone. So I feel like for us, you know, it was something that kind of scared us in the beginning. We were a little nervous about kind of taking this direction, because like you mentioned, we kind of hadn't done that in the past. We'd always kind of made our music a little more bouncy, happy, upbeat, more about romance, you know, things that were a little more on the surface. But it's just where we were at, you know, like it was just a product of the time and where we were at.
Yeah, I think too, we always say that this record wouldn't have happened like with age too. And I think that a lot of these themes explored are something that you're able to just look back on and go deeper into as you grow and mature in age, and are able to like, yeah, look back on your younger self with more compassion. I feel like it's hard to do that, you know, in your younger 20s. You kind of need to mature to a certain age to be able to do that.
Ooh, that's such a deep song. Oh my goodness. Oh my god. Didn't expect it will go this way, this conversation. I didn't expect, because I think your first album, I just remember your first album, like When My Heart Felt Volcanic. It's very, very happy. And it's my favorites too, because, Loving is Bible is very, very damn good. I think it's very, very damn good. It's very catchy. And looking right now, you make heavier track. It's kind of surprised me in a good way. It's very surprised me in a good way. So maybe you can tell about your first record, When My Heart Felt Volcanic, because I think there's innocence. It's radiates so innocence in the lyrics. Talk about more romance. Can you recall that moment, because it is my favorite album?
Yeah, absolutely. We were a lot younger, I mean, but I think if you really listen to My Heart Felt Volcanic, you hear that like there's actually a lot of desperation on that record.
Yeah, that record
there's a lot of
like that record is quite sad, honestly. I think we dressed it up to feel happy and exciting, but even a song like Loving is Bible is about, picking love over religion. It's this kind of like deeper topic than you would think, because as queer people and religion often don't align very much. So like that was all there are these kind of like, I think we just disguised.
I also think we just didn't know how to say it. We were just younger, and I think a lot of our exploration of self was through other people at that point. I think when you're young, you're trying to find yourself in relationships, in friendships, in family, in different things. And as you get older, you start to find yourself like within you, and figure out who you are outside of everything else. And so I don't think we knew quite how to articulate ourselves totally yet. And we were just young. A lot of our first queer experiences were being, translated through that record. Yeah. And so there was just a lot of, but I will agree with you. Yeah. I think this record is, in some ways, topically, it's a lot more about self. It's a lot more about mental health versus external relationships.
Yeah. And I think we really just like went there on this record. Like we were like, okay, like it's always been Ace's fashion to make sad songs that sound like happy songs, but why don't we try just making sad songs that sound like sad songs? Like we've never done that. So I feel like that was new for us.
But I think one of the unique aspects of the Aces for me, is your blend of new wave and power pop music, which draws inspiration from the past while remaining current. It didn't sound old. So do you have a specific formula when you are creating your music? Because I think you are consistent with the new wave sound, but I think there's a little bit evolution, that subtle evolution in there in your music from your first album into the third one.
Well, the secret sauce we'll never tell.
Yeah, that's our Krabby Patty formula.
That's our Krabby Patty. No, we're kidding. No, we're kidding. I think that I think that, like I was saying, that combined inspiration of like growing up listening to different music, right? Like Ken grew up listening to a lot of new wave, like 80s new wave. Alisa and I grew up listening to a lot of 80s pop and like Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, stuff like that. And then Katie grew up listening to like more maybe classic rock, the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, stuff like that. So putting all of that together kind of gives it this fresh take from like pulling from a lot of different genres. And I feel like the Aces is really genre-less in a way, even though we end up kind of aligning in these ways of like new wave. Specifically this new record, we were incredibly inspired by new wave music, like The Cure, shoegaze music, 90s, late 80s music, because that music for us is really it's very nostalgic and it's very cinematic. And I think that we really wanted this music to, with talking about heavier topics about like our mental health and our past, we wanted to bring this kind of comforting nostalgia to everything, because we're really recalling and remembering a lot. And I think that we wanted to bring this kind of cinematic kind of blanket of music to those stories. Specifically, it felt very fitting for the record.
Okay. Oh, on your third record, I've loved you for so long. I think there are some tracks that you use more harsher guitar sound. I think I think rather than your first record and second record. Whose idea? You use like harsher guitar sound, because I think when I listen it, oh, this is so harsh, oh, and this is so dark. Whose idea? Whose idea?
I think it was like, it wasn't necessarily like one idea, rather than like we were just really trying to paint the picture of what the story was. And I feel like, if you're talking about hard on like a song like Person or Suburban Blues, like we're just, the music is also just, we're trying to articulate the feeling through the music. And in those two songs specifically, we're talking about like an internal battle with yourself and not totally liking yourself, and how that can feel. And so I feel like a really grungy, intense guitar can kind of be the perfect like bed for that emotion. And so that internal battle throughout this whole record is there. And so kind of using grittier, darker, kind of uglier noises that kind of paint that internal struggle was part of the storytelling.
I felt like that's how Katie played when we were kids too. And that's kind of a big part of like production wise, what we looked back to on this record was like how we would play and perform as kids. We were like a garage band, like, and just played like pretty rocky music from the time we were young. So I feel like that was a ode back to that as well.
Okay, so if you could travel back in time, what message like would you like to say to your past self of each of you?
I would say stop drinking coffee on an empty stomach, because you're gonna swirl all day long.
Like, never drink it.
Never drink it. Stop. Wise words. No, I would say, I think that, we've actually, because the theme of this record, we've been talking about that a lot, like what we would say to those younger versions of ourselves. And I think the one thing that I would say would just be like, we were actually talking about this last night over dinner. I was like, you're not like, you're doing nothing, you're doing everything right. Like, you're fine. And you should really settle into the joy of your life and the present and your experiences that you're having, and take them all like day by day and really try to be present for everything that you're experiencing. I think when I was younger, I was always looking forward. Like, I always wanted more. I was always like, yeah, this is fine. But like when we do this, as a band, or when this happens, it's going to be better. And then you get there and you're like, oh wait, it's going to be better again. Like, it's a mindset that you have when you're not being present. And so I would say just like try to be a little more present, try to just enjoy everything right now in this moment.
That's a good that's a great message, because I think when you are younger, you want to be ambitious, you want to be like you want to be like everything. But if you already go there, if you're already on the current self, I don't know, maybe like you didn't want to get higher, get more ambitious, but you want to get better for yourself, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like, I love that we're ambitious. I love that I'm really ambitious. I think if we weren't, we wouldn't be talking to someone in Indonesia right now. You know what I mean? It's like, it's something that's really beautiful about our band, I think, is that we are really ambitious, but at the same time, you can't let your ambition take your joy. You can't let it take away from, recognizing how far you have come and being like, wow, it's insane that we've been able to make this kind of career for ourselves and play music all around the world and do these things together, and to just really be grateful. I think that we're like more grateful than we've ever been for everything that we've created and everything that we've gotten to experience together. There's just a lot more gratitude, it feels like, in like our daily lives, which is really, really great.
Oh wow. Yeah, because I felt it too, like recently, when you are on the much older, you've got ambitious is in the past, but the ambition is like going back to you. It's like consequences, and I think becoming more humble is, kind of like a cure for the ambitious itself, I think.
100%. Yeah, I think that the more kind of grounded you can stay, like we're really lucky because we get to do this with each other, and we get to like really remind each other of our purpose and kind of remind each other of the wins. And if one of us is down, the others can kind of uplift her. And I just think it's a really special thing to get to do it with your best friends, and because we do it together, I think we've been able to remain kind of a little more humble and a little more grounded and just remind each other of like what's actually important. So yeah, you gotta stay humble.
Yeah. Okay, that's enough the deep talk. We gonna a fun question right now. So okay, can you mention 5 things we didn't know about the aces?
Oh my gosh, 5 things you don't know about the aces.
Yes.
Let's rapid fire. I would say that Kenna, you might already know this though. Kenna's a really great cook.
Yeah.
She loves to cook.
Kenna's a great cook.
Yeah.
Katie is a secret sports nerd. She's obsessed with sports. She literally watches basketball nonstop. Like on the plane, she's trying to get Wi-Fi to watch a basketball game.
Yep.
Alisa is like secretly actually a really good guitar player. Like she'll send me tracks. She'll send me tracks.
Thing. I wouldn't say good.
No, it's honestly kind of blows me away.
I'd say Alisa can play guitar.
I'm like, who plays this guitar line? Literally, who plays this guitar line? She's like, me. I plucked it out for like a long time.
Yeah, like if it takes you 8 hours to play like a C chord, I would say you're good at guitar, but you can do it.
No, I think she's better than she gives herself credit for.
Chrissy, what would you say about Chrissy?
What do I say about myself?
Chrissy is a fashion and vintage connoisseur. She is constantly curating vintage and going to the ends of the earth to find amazing things.
I'm driving my manager, who's standing right here, crazy because we have very limited time today, and they keep being like, "I'm going to thrift shop," and she's like, "You literally don't have time for that." Like,
we're shopping.
I will find 15 minutes to go to a vintage shop. So I love vintage. And then the last fact about the aces in general is,
We've been together since we were 10 and 8. I feel like not everyone knows that.
Yeah. Denisha might not know that.
Yeah,
we've been
might
together.
not know that we started this band when we were 10 years old. Well, I was 8, but they were 10 years old.
All right, that's a wrap. That's end of the question. Thank you so much, the aces, for having me in this interview. Thank you so much. It's really, really great deep talk today. Oh my god. Oh Lord.
Thanks for letting us chat, and thank you so much for asking such thoughtful questions. We appreciate it.
We cannot wait to come to Indonesia. We want to come so bad.
Yes.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so let me close this interview first. Okay, so thank you so much for whoever watched this on everywhere, on YouTube or every platform. Thank you so much. I'm Luthfi signing out. Please listen to the Aces newest record called I've Loved You for So Long. And I'm Luthfi signing out with the Aces. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.